Help me ducks, it's Simon here. Welcome back to the Hermit's Cave. So today I've got quite an unusual deck really to show you. I certainly wasn't aware of it, but I was contacted probably about a month or so ago by a lady called Astrid, who is from the Czech Republic. She sent me this lovely postcard actually from Prague, and she's just put a little note on the back. But she was telling me about the fact that she runs a very semi-independent, a tiny publishing company. She was, her way of describing it, in the Czech Republic. And about a year ago, they produced this deck, which is called the Alchemical Tarot, a Theofanus Abba. And yeah, it's limited to 500 copies only. And it's very unusual, mainly because of its colours, etc. Now, I don't know much about Theofanus Abba, other than he was a Czech hermetic. He was an alchemist. And that this deck, because he passed away in 1975, so he was born in 1901, died in 1975, but he had a student called, and I'm probably going to butcher all these names, so I do apologise in advance, but his student was called Martin Stetzel, I want to say, and he created first a major arcana only deck, which was in black and white, but he has teamed up with an artist, again from the Czech Republic, called Mikhail Stransky, and both Martin and Mikhail have created now a full 78 card colour deck. So I'm quite excited to have this. As I said, they're billing it as a very unique deck. It is quite unusual, mainly because of its colours, but as well as the fact that it corresponds to the stages of the creation of the Philosopher's Stone. Now, full disclaimer, I know very little about alchemy. It's not something I've studied. I have a few decks that kind of are alchemy kind of base decks, but what Astrid said in her email is that this is for, it's great for alchemists, but also for those who are not, like myself. We can still love and appreciate this deck. So the book obviously isn't in English. Let me just get the the box isn't in English, but quite interestingly, they didn't want this deck just to appeal to people from the Czech Republic. So the titles, I like that, the titles of this, it's like a clamshell box. I think it's quite stiff to get into. Oh, in fact, it's very stiff to get into, particularly at this end. It seems to be quite stuck. There we go. There we go. Once it's cracked open. Now, there's two books, one in English, I believe, which is really helpful. Oh, sorry, I keep knocking the camera. So here we have a little white book that says the Alchemical Tarot, a Theofanus Abba, and that is in English, which is really good to have. And then there is another one in Czech, I'm assuming. But the titles on the card, so that it appeals to audiences globally, is written in Latin. Okay, so the cards are small, actually. I'm surprised how small they are. But anyway, let's have a look at this deck. So this is the box. We've got this extra, which is a bit battered really, extra for protection, because the cards, as I say, are quite small, but they still move around a little bit in there. Whether I'll keep it in this, I mean, it's wanting to come out, so we will see. I'm not sure about that design, because the box itself is nice and sturdy. So we have, these are the backs. They're not reversible, as you can see. And then we have the title card here. Cardstock is nice. It has a sheen to it. It's not the thickest of cardstock, but it's quite a nice card. They are quite small, so let's grab the, this is a standard tarot size, so you'll see they're a little bit narrower and smaller. Probably the size of a trimmed card, you know, like the, if I grab, bear with, grab something like my trimmed Lo Scarabeo Dirty Pam. Yeah, it's about the same size as that. A little bit thick, a little bit wider. And I quite like that size of trim decks. So, shall we just have a look? Let's have a look at the little book. So you get something about Master Theofanus Abba, and then it's called the Alchemical Tarot of Theofanus Abba, a guide for the wanderer. And then a little bit about Abba and his work. It was first edition September 2018, so it's just over a year. You are currently witnessing the history of a game which dates back to the year 1973, when Theofanus Abba, that's 2 years before his death, used his older sketches and wrote a brief description of the major arcana for his tarot set, which was soon to be released in France. So that's interesting. It gives you a little bit of background, brief characteristics of the tarot. It's a nice little white book, actually. The description of the major arcana. So we go into the cards then, the mage, the priestess, the empress, etc., all the way through. The Fool is found before the world or the universe here. After Judgment, the Fool, and then the universe. But I'm hoping the Fool is without number, as it should be, so that he can go wherever he goes. And then Tarot Signature, Opus Malarium, reverses. And then for the minors, you get the meaning of the minor arcana in a write-up here. So telling you about the swords, the batons, etc., how they link to the elements. And then some writing by Theofanus Abba. Okay, now also, which I found quite interesting, I think one of the reasons why I said yes, not only because it's quite a unique deck, but this deck is loosely inspired by Abba's favourite tarot deck, which is the Oswald Worth deck. And I've shown my versions of the Oswald Worth deck that I've got. I've got three versions, and I really do like that tarot deck. So when I heard that as well, that was another deciding factor of me saying yes, I'd love to have a copy. So, full disclaimer, I haven't paid for this deck. This has been sent to me by the creator, and I said I would do an unboxing and walkthrough. Information on how to obtain this deck, of course, will be in the information below, the blurb below. And just remember that there are only 500 copies available, and it's been on sale a while now, so I'm not sure, depending when you watch this video, how many will be left. Anyway, let's have a close up look. Let's move that. There we go. So yeah, I'm really liking the use of colour, and I can already see the In fact, let's have a look. Where can I grab? Yeah, let's grab an Oswald Worth deck. Here's one that was made by the lovely Rial from My Lucky Card. So you can see how they are inspired by Oswald Worth. Now I bought a book which I cut the cards out the back of the book, and these are most like the Oswald Worth original deck. So as you can see here, it's very in keeping, even with like the red leaf underneath. So I can see why it's inspired by the Oswald Worth tarot deck. I love the backs of these as well that Riel did. So let's pop them back in this little box. Okay, and let's have a look through. So I like the use of colours. I love this flash behind here. You know, it kind of illustrates that as above, so below. Even though the arms aren't necessarily, I mean, you do have one pointing up and you do have one pointing down, but it's that connection between the heaven and the earth that I really like. Oh, wow. That's beautiful. Isis. And she's got her keys, which links her to the Hierophant. Her book with the yin and yang symbol on there. Beautiful High Priestess. Our Empress card. Our Emperor. And of course we've got the alchemical symbols. The Pontiff. For our Pope. I love the dark backgrounds as well, really nice. For our lovers, the Chariot card. The very rich. Of course, with it being Marseille, the Justice card is number 8. Love the Hermit. Love that card. Wow. Just beautiful. The Wheel. And our Strength card. It looks like our magician, doesn't he? Similar. Different colours in his clothes, but very, very similar. He's fighting like a dragon here, or calming a dragon. The Hanged Man. I love the purple background and the Death card. It's wonderful. These cards feel lovely as well. I'd imagine these would be really nice to riffle shuffle if I was a riffle shuffler. Here we have Michael, the Archangel Michael for the Temperance card. It's interesting that they just use the name rather than the archetype of temperance. Love that Devil. Wow. Look at that symbol there. It's like the Ankh with a crescent moon on top. Tower. The Star. The Moon. That's dramatic. dark pool of water. Never noticed as well. I wonder if that's common in the Oswald Worth deck, that dog's actually chained. One is, one isn't. I need to check. Let's have a look. Because I've never noticed that before. No, it's not. But, I mean, there are variations because, as we can see here in this Hermit card, there isn't a skull or the book. So it does say loosely inspired by his favourite deck, which was the Oswald Worth deck. The Sun. We have Judgment. There we have our Fool. They have actually named him 21. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Again, does that happen? Don't recall that ever happening in the Oswald Worth deck. No. Yeah, that's the only. I do like the fact they've got the little crocodile there, and the cat that's clawing and biting at his leg. So it's very, very in keeping. But yeah, I kind of wish, for me, the Fool should be without number. So to have 21 there, which I get it, is completed his journey and is about to inherit the world, but it's a small thing. I like the fact he's going from night to day as well. The background's there. But I would have preferred for 21 not to appear. But it makes this deck unique, so. And then we have the Universe, our world card. And again, amazing with these darker backgrounds. Okay, so then we're into our minors. So we'll quickly go through the minors. In fact, we'll have some music for this and I'll just show you the beauty, because there's not a lot you can say really about minors in a Marseille deck. But, I still like to see them because I do think the ordering and the pattern is quite stunning if done well. Obviously we have the corresponding symbol as well, like I have here on my arm. So we have earth, water, fire, air and spirit. So of course here we have fire because it's wands. And these are Pip rather than Marseille. They're not the ones that we're used to seeing in the Marseille, which are, ordered in a particular pattern. Of course. Love that. Here we have the Earth suit, which is coins or pentacles. Swords, which is air. Actually, oh yeah, the line, of course. I was like, oh, that's the line that goes through the symbol to make air. I was like, actually, that's still fire. But it's not. The line is there. I like the way the kings are holding this sun in their hands. And then we have cups, which is water. And a lovely blue colour for water. Green, matching his cup. So there we have it, guys. So thank you, Astrid, for sending me this deck. It is unique. There's so many things I do like about it. I think the colours are rich and vibrant, which we don't always see in kind of Pip style, Marseille style decks. I'm not, into alchemy, so I don't, for me, my appreciation is on the aesthetic. But I can see that it's a unique deck and it's unusual in terms of its colours. So this is the Tarot of Theofanus Abba, through his student Martin Stetschkel, and with the assistance of Czech artist Michael Stransky. Information about the deck can be found below. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts. I will be back in a couple of hours for a cup of ketchup and cards, and until then, go in peace. Namaste and blessed be.